So let's be honest here. This new Dodge Charger, there's still mixed reviews on this car. It's been out all of maybe 4 months and it's still all over the place as far as how people feel the car looks and things of that nature. Some people love the look of the car. It says it has a perfect blend of modern and retro styling to it. Some people says it's not retro enough. Some people love the styling, think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Other people hate the styling, says it looks plain and looks awkward. It's all over the place. Some people say it looks completely fine how it is. The only issue is that it doesn't have a V8 in it. You know, it's all over the place. Like, people have their own opinions of this car, how it looks and how they think it should look and things like that. There is still an opportunity to make this car look more retro. And a Reddit user that I did come across, I think his name Bloody Band-Aids or something like that, I did see this post and I saw a quick render that he did to make this car look much more retro. Now, the question to everybody here is, does this car look better with a more retro look? Let's go ahead and get into the video. This is my Dodge Charger Scat Pack wide body. It's big, it's loud, it's bright red. It simply grabs attention no matter where I go. Unfortunately, I bought a car that is 60 times more likely to be stolen than any other car on the road. With the long list of mods and things I bought for this car, one of the first things I installed on my car was this. CarLock, the world's best GPS tracker and alert system. With CarLock, you will be able to live track your car with the GPS from your phone. Also, get alerts sent directly to your phone if anything is going on with your car, such as vibrations, engine starting, the car moving when it shouldn't be moving, or if there's a loss of power, your CarLock will get an alert for that as well. Be sure to get your CarLock. Use my link down in the description below and these discount codes to get a 10% discount on your CarLock purchase, as well as a 14-day free trial of the CarLock service as well. Let's get into the video. You see the title and you see the thumbnail, so let's dive into this, right? Let's look at this. So like I said at the top of the video, there's a lot of still kind of mixed feelings about this new Charger. Some people love the look, some people hate the look. Some people say it is missing a V8. Some people think this car is hideous. So it's all over the place with this car, right? One thing that is consistent with everybody hates the fact that it is an electric vehicle, but still there's still some mixed opinions about the look of this new car, right? This new Dodge Charger that's been out for only 4 months. That's where we're at with this car. Cruising on Reddit, just, you know, stalking some of the subreddits and seeing what's going on with some of the Dodge Reddits and what the people are saying. And then I come across this picture that looks interesting. Like, how do we feel about it? How do we feel about this car with a more retro look? Before we dive into this picture, right, I want to show you my thoughts with this car. And these are things I've said about this car from day one. Lucky enough to see this car side by side with my car before it was actually released in the video. If you want to look at that video, you can check out, I gave my thoughts on the car, seen it in person for the first time. But these are the things that I did like and hate about the car. So number one, first thing I'm gonna say this, and this is something I've been saying since this car came out. I think the previous generation, which is the kind of like the Scat Pack Charger that I have, I do think that car is a bit more aggressive. I would say if you take this car and compare it to other EV cars, this car looks really good. And the reason I say that is, the reason I hate a lot of EV cars is because of the fact that when they do the styling is relatively boring to me. Styling is always this egg bubble shaped car that has a flat plain front end, ugly wheels, nothing special about the car. And that's why I hate a lot of EV cars. They look like a spaceship, and that's why I hate a lot of the EV cars. I'm not a big EV fan myself. The styling of some of those cars is just, to me, don't appeal to me at all. But the Dodge Charger, I would say this new 2024 2025 Dodge Charger, styling on this is much more different. The car looks like a normal gas powered car, and that's what I like about that. Now, I'm not a fan of EVs, don't get my words twisted, but I will say for an electric car, this car does look good. Only comparing electric to electric cars here. Taking that out of consideration about it being an electric car, I do think there are some opportunities with this body style that could be, you know, things that could be done better with it. A couple of things, like, and this is something I stated on day one when I first saw this car get unveiled. The area of the car right behind that, you know, rear side one, that little C post or whatever, right? I think that looks really awkward because of the fact that if you look at the body line for the back of the car, where that rear window would be, and then that side window, they don't really line up. So it makes this kind of odd looking C-pillar. Looks really weird, right? Also, towards the back of the car, I feel like the back of the car just seems really, really short. And I know this is supposed to be a hatchback and all that type of stuff, but it just looks really short on the rear end. And I'm looking at a picture right here beside me, so that's why I'm kind of looking sideways. I know they did the front R-wing because of, aerodynamics and things of that nature. I get that for the EV. I don't have really a preference on that either way or another, but I can tell that this car, just kind of looking at the dimensions and things like that, they took a 4-door design and tried to make it work for a 2-door as well. So those are the things initially with seeing this car that I didn't like about the car. Granted, yes, it's supposed to be a wide body and things of that nature, bolts out the fenders are and whatnot, but let's show you guys what this car could look like if they went the Challenger route and went all in with the retro designs. All right, guys, so what I got on screen now, I have the more retro looking 2024-2025 Dodge Charger Daytona here. Before you guys go crazy and say this is not a clean Photoshop, I know that this is not a perfect Photoshop, but it does get the point across of what we're trying to convey here with this car. It serves its purpose. So there's a couple things they changed on this car to make it fit the profile of the 1960s Dodge Charger, 1970s Dodge Charger and whatnot. Now, the one thing the Challenger did so well is that it stayed true to the shape of the previous Challenger, to the 1970s Challengers. I want to be clear about that because there are Challengers that came out in the 80s that we don't recognize and we don't consider part of the family, no matter what anybody says, right? The Challenger design stayed so true to the 70s models that if you took someone from the 70s and had them time travel from the 70s to the modern day, they could look at a modern Challenger and recognize immediately, hey, that's a Challenger, because the shape stayed the same. So what they did here, made sure to keep the shape the same as the original. Well, I wouldn't say the original Dodge Charger, because there were some Dodge Chargers in the 60s that came out before the ones like the 69 and the 70 Chargers that we all like, but they stayed pretty true to that. And you can see this is some of the changes they made. First change they made here, so the front of the car, they kind of straightened it out and elongated it a little bit more. They made the nose a little bit more pointier, bottom of that front bumper curve in a little bit more. Now, the thing about it does make the car sit up really high off the ground. The next thing they did with this car, just kind of going front to back here, that front windshield area. So they made that a little bit shorter and a little bit more pointier. Now on the 2024-2025 Dodge Charger, it kind of curves a little bit more, but they made that come more to a point that resembles more of the 1960s, 70s Dodge Chargers, which that it really does hit that old school look extremely well by doing that. You can see the profile of the car instantly, right? They also, with the roof line, they made the roof line a little bit straighter. Can't believe I keep seeing this, but that roof line reminds me of a GTR, a Nissan GTR. No, that's weird, but now with this roof line, what they did here, they made that a little bit straighter instead of like a big kind of curve going around, and it really fits that profile of a 60s, 70s Dodge Charger. What they also done here as well, they didn't really change the doors that much, didn't really mess with that at all, it seems like. But looking back towards that rear part of the car where that C-pillar is, where I talked about it looks kind of weird, they fixed that window. They reshaped that window to fit that C-pillar a little bit better, where that window kind of runs parallel with the back edge of that windshield, which helps out with that side profile a lot. I always thought that window looked awkward in that shape, but by making it more like a triangle versus kind of a odd shaped four-sided shape, it looks way better and fits the profile of the car really, really well. And with them shaping that, if you go towards the rear of the car, they did exactly what the rear of the car, which I was hoping they would do. They elongated the rear of the car, which to me was something I thought was odd with the car, because the trunk area of the car was so short. They took that and made it a little bit longer, so now it does have that much longer body look of the 60s and 70s Chargers that we're kind of accustomed to. It didn't stop there. They did change out that rear bumper area a little bit more, so making it curved in a little bit instead of it coming straight down. Because right now, if you look at the current Charger, that bumper kind of does resemble kind of like the modern Challenger, how it kind of comes straight down a little bit, but it does with that curve really have that retro 70s style look to it. Now, by stretching this car out, it did seem like it made the car longer. They made the hood longer, and they made the roof line longer, they made the trunk area of the car longer. So it does overall make the car like a much longer car than what it already is. But I think you can still achieve this same look of this car and maybe just shrink the proportions a little bit, make the car a little bit shorter, but still elongate some of those areas if you get the proportions right and make the car as long as it is now. This redesign that's done to it does give it that retro look. and it really hits home and gives you that perfect silhouette of what those 70s style Chargers look like. Now, personally, I do feel like this design is a huge improvement on what the current design is. I mean, the current design is not bad, but going this far to the retro styling and playing off of that really hits home to say this is a Dodge Charger. Like, you can look at it and say, I see the Dodge Charger shape in it. There's one big thing that's still missing to me. I'm not gonna let this go till they bring this back. We need the door scallops. There are no door scallops still on this. There needs to be some kind of indentation or something on this door, on these fenders, to help show off the bulkiness of this car. That's the word, bulkiness. Can we use bulkiness? Well, we use it. The bulkiness or the bulkiness of this car. We're gonna say bulkiness or whatever, right? That still needs to happen, because like I stated before, this car is wider than the previous generation Dodge Charger. I'm talking about it's wider than the wide body, and the fenders do bulge out quite a bit. And this would been a great opportunity to put some sort of door scallop events in there to show off and make that area look much more muscular there. Because right there, there's, like, if you look at the side of the car, there's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. There's hardly any lines, hardly any indentations, nothing there to give it a muscular look. Now, I know the Challenger didn't have anything on the side, but the Challenger was playing off the previous generation, well, not the previous generation, but the 1970s Challengers, and it still held on to those lines that's there. But I am happy that they did keep the whole Coke bottle figure. If you look at kind of like this front fender area, how it kind of swoops over there, there's a line that swoops over that front fender, and then there's like a line that kind of picks up in the middle of the door and swoops all the way back to the rear fender. On both designs here, I will say Dodge did keep that design quite well. That's something that a lot of the Chargers do have. Even the 2015 to 2023 Chargers have that. Even the 2011 to 2014 Chargers have that body line. It might be in 2010 as well. They all had that body line. I'm happy that kept that in there. Even the original Chargers have that as well. Those, I keep saying original, but the 60s and 70s Chargers had that line as well. Now, to be completely honest, and now with this car, I understand Dodge kind of was in a box when it came to designing this car, because what they had to do was they had to design a car that not only fit the bill for a four-door car, but also fit the bill for a two-door car as well. So unfortunately, when you try to make a two-door and a four-door car from one body style, one of the looks is going to suffer. Either it's not going to look good as a four-door car, or it's not going to look good as a two-door car. That's where this car looks kind of awkward here. You can tell they made this car with a four-door in mind. That door big, but it's not big enough. It doesn't take up the whole side. Like if you look at a Challenger, that door takes up that whole side profile because it's made to be a two-door car. This is made to be a four-door car in the end, so there's still a lot of space there, a lot of real estate on the side of this car. Now, I'm interested to see if the four-door version of this is going to look better. I've seen pictures of it, but want to see it in person. Does that kind of fill out the car and make it look better than the two-door version? We'll see. But what I wish Dodge could have did in this situation is, instead of trying to make one body style fit a four-door and a two-door, what if they made a body style that was dedicated to a two-door and a body style that was dedicated to the four-door? That way they can kind of maximize the look on both. Like they made the two-door more of a retro looking style, and I've been interested to see if they would have did something like that. But I get that they didn't want to, put extra resources into building two different chassis, well, not chassis, but really two different bodies for this one car, and not knowing how this car was going to span out. I still think Dodge does have room to make a much smaller two-door car, which I do think they're going to do. So that's my thoughts on this car and this little redesign, man. I know it's like a quick Photoshop job, but it does its justice as far as conveying that, that 1960, 1970 Charger to us. I dig it. Man, I really dig it. I really like it. Let me know what you guys think about it. Do you like this redesign that this person did, or do you like the original better? So let me know in the comments below. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We want you around for all the car related things we do on here. We talk about cars. We do some work on cars. We race the cars a little bit, things of that nature. So make sure you are around for all of that we got going on. We're going to catch you on the next video. We're out. Cut it.